Heavenly beloved, listen carefully. Congratulations. God says, tonight at 12:12 a.m., on March 24th, the doors of heaven will swing open for you. If you dismiss this message, you are personally signing the decree to reject your miracle. Open now. This is not a coincidence. This is not random timing. And this is not just another message scrolling across your screen. Tonight at exactly 12:12 a.m. on March 24th, something in the spiritual realm is aligning specifically for you. Yes, for you. Out of billions of people on this earth, this word has found its way into your hands because heaven has scheduled an appointment with your destiny. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian at the threshold of divine doors. And when he moves, things shift. When he receives an instruction from God, he does not delay. He does not hesitate. And tonight, he has been positioned at a doorway that has had your name written on it long before you were born. You have cried in silence. You have waited when no one understood. You have prayed when it seemed like nothing was happening. But what you could not see is that heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was preparing you. 12:12 is not just a time. It is a sign of divine order. It represents alignment, government, and divine authority. The repetition is not accidental. When numbers repeat, heaven emphasizes. And March 24th marks the third day, the day of resurrection power, the day when dead things rise, when sealed stones are rolled away. There is a door that has been shut, a door that seemed permanently closed. You tried to push it open. You tried to force it. But God kept it sealed because the timing was not right. Now the timing is right. But listen carefully. This is where many miss their miracle. The door will open, but you must respond. Archangel Michael did not force entry. He guards, he announces, he clears the battlefield. But your agreement activates the release. If you dismiss this message, if you brush it off as emotional hype, you are spiritually signing a decree that says, I do not receive what heaven prepared. That is why this moment matters. There has been warfare around your blessing, distractions, delays, doubt. Who view him? Even unusual tension in your environment. That was not random. When something significant is about to break through, resistance increases. Have you noticed how lately your thoughts have been attacked? Have you felt waves of discouragement without clear reason? Have you sensed that something big is near, yet something keeps trying to pull you back? That is because the door is real. Tonight at 12:12 a.m., a spiritual transaction is scheduled. Chains of limitation are marked for removal. Contracts of delay are marked for cancellation. Hidden opposition is marked for exposure. And yes, there are things happening behind the scenes you do not know about. There are conversations being shifted in rooms you have never entered. There are decisions being influenced in places you have never seen. There are hearts being softened that once resisted you. This is not luck. This is orchestration. Archangel Michael has been assigned to clear spiritual interference that tried to block your path in 2025. What was meant to trap you will now testify for you. What was meant to embarrass you will now elevate you. But here is the warning, and it is serious. Heaven does not beg. If you treat this lightly, if you scroll away without receiving, you are declaring that you prefer comfort over calling. You are choosing familiarity over favor. And some doors, once bypassed, do not reopen the same way. This is not fear. This is urgency. Because at 12:12 a.m., heaven moves whether you believe it or not. The question is not whether the doors will swing open. The question is, will you step forward? Something had been delayed long enough. financial pressure, emotional exhaustion, a promise that seemed forgotten. God is not blind to it, and Archangel Michael has stood watch over your tears more times than you realize. You were not abandoned. You were being positioned. Tonight marks the crossing point, the line between almost and finally, the shift between waiting and walking through. And I need you to understand something deeply. This is personal. The enemy tried to convince you that you were overlooked, that your prayers were weak, that your faith was insufficient. But if that were true, there would not be warfare around you. Opposition proves value. And if the opposition was intense, imagine the magnitude of the miracle. As the clock approaches 12:12 a.m. on March 24th, do not be passive. Prepare your heart. Clear your doubts. Silence the internal noise. Align your spirit. Because when the doors of heaven swing open, it will not be subtle. There will be a sudden clarity, a sudden opportunity, a sudden release. And you will know, this is what was being prepared. But remember, agreement activates access. Say within your spirit, I receive what God has prepared for me. Because this is your crossing hour. This is your alignment moment. This is the announcement that your season is shifting. And this is only the beginning of what heaven is about to reveal. Chosen one, something is shifting in the atmosphere around you, and you can feel it even now. The air feels different. Your thoughts feel heavy yet clearer at the same time. This is what happens right before divine intervention. When heaven prepares to move, there is always a holy tension before the release. Tonight at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th is not just a timestamp. It is a divine appointment that has been circled in the spiritual calendar long before you ever saw this message. Archangel Michael is not mentioned lightly. He is the warrior of heaven, the defender of destiny, the one who stands against forces that try to interfere with God's plans. And right now, he is not passive. He is active. He is positioned. There has been a battle over your breakthrough, a silent resistance trying to delay what rightfully belongs to you. You may have felt strange delays, unexpected obstacles, or emotional turbulence. That was not random. That was resistance, because something valuable is attached to your name. But here is the truth that will shake you. The resistance is losing. Heaven does not announce open doors unless they are ready to swing wide. And tonight, the doors of heaven are not cracking open slightly. They are swinging open with authority. What was restricted will be released. What was frozen will begin to flow. What was denied will suddenly find approval. Yet there is something you must understand deeply. Miracles are invitations. They require response. God will not force a blessing into hands that refuse to open. When this message found you, it was not to entertain you. It was to awaken you. Dismissing this moment is not neutral. It is a decision. Agreement brings activation. Indifference brings delay. Why do you think this message feels urgent? Why does it feel like it is speaking directly into your situation? Because it is. There are some of you who have been praying for financial restoration. Some of you have been asking for reconciliation. Some of you are waiting for clarity about your purpose. And some of you are simply tired. Tired of waiting. Tired of hoping. Tired of believing and seeing nothing change. But heaven saw everything. Archangel Michael has stood guard over promises that look fragile. He has shielded opportunities you did not even know were forming. There were attacks meant to disqualify you, whispers meant to discourage you, distractions meant to divert you. Yet you are still here. That alone is evidence that you are protected. And now the clock is approaching alignment. When 12:12 a.m. strikes on March 24th, it will symbolize divine order stepping into chaos. It will symbolize authority overruling confusion. It will symbolize heaven saying, "Enough delay. But I need you to lean in here." This is crucial. Your expectation matters. What you believe determines how you perceive what unfolds. If you expect nothing, you will overlook everything. If you expect movement, you will recognize it the moment it begins. Faith sharpens your vision. This is why I am telling you now, prepare your heart. Do not treat tonight casually. Speak life over your home. Release doubt from your thoughts. Align your words with what God is declaring over you. And if this message is stirring something deep inside you, do not stay silent. Like this video as a declaration of agreement. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their midnight is not an ending but a beginning. Comment your faith boldly so heaven sees your alignment. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this movement where divine warnings turn into divine victories. When you engage, you are not just supporting content. You are amplifying a prophetic sound that reaches souls who are on the edge of giving up. There is power in collective agreement. There is power when voices unite and declare, "We receive." Do not underestimate what happens when you take a simple action of faith. And listen closely, because what comes next will make even more sense of what you have been experiencing. The unusual dreams, the sudden memories, the repeated numbers, the sense that something significant is near. None of it was random. You will want to hear what is unfolding behind the scenes, because once you understand it, you will never doubt this midnight moment again. Faithful soul, there is something you must understand before this midnight hour arrives. What is about to happen at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th is not just about receiving a blessing. It is about exposure, separation, and divine clarification. When the doors of heaven swing open, light floods in. And when light floods in, everything hidden becomes visible. Some of you have been confused about certain people around you. You have sensed something was not right, but you could not prove it. You felt a shift in loyalty. You felt an undercurrent of envy. You felt words spoken that carried sweetness on the surface but heaviness underneath. You questioned yourself. You thought you were overthinking, but you were discerning. Archangel Michael does not only guard blessings, he also exposes interference. He stands as a warrior of truth. And tonight, as heaven opens doors, false alignments will begin to crumble. This is not to create fear. It is to create freedom. There are individuals who benefited from your delay. As long as you stayed small, they felt comfortable. As long as you doubted yourself, they felt secure. But your elevation disrupts insecure spirits. Your growth threatens hidden agendas. When heaven opens a door for you, it also closes access points for those who were misusing proximity. This is why the past few weeks may have felt strange. Conversations felt off. Energy shifted. Silence grew where there used to be enthusiasm. That was not random. That was preparation. God will not allow you to walk into a new season carrying old contamination. And here is the powerful truth. Exposure is mercy. If someone is not meant to walk into your next level, they will be revealed before you step through the door. Archangel Michael has been assigned not just to open the way, but to clear it. What cannot survive in the light will not follow you into what God is about to release. At 12:12 a.m., when divine order aligns, you may begin noticing clarity in unexpected ways. A sudden realization, a truth confirmed, a pattern you can no longer ignore. Do not panic when this happens. Do not resist it. Clarity is protection. Some doors are opening for opportunity. Others are opening to show you what must be left behind. You asked God for elevation. Elevation requires separation. You prayed for favor. Favor requires filtering. You asked for peace. Peace requires exposure of what was disturbing it. And this is where many people make a mistake. When exposure begins, they try to fix what God is revealing. They try to repair what heaven is removing. They try to hold on to what was only seasonal. Do not interrupt divine surgery. Archangel Michael's presence signifies decisive action. When he moves, it is because instruction has been given. Tonight is not symbolic. It is strategic. Something will shift in your awareness. Something will realign in your environment. Something will detach that was secretly draining you. And once it detaches, your energy will return. Your clarity will increase. Your confidence will stabilize. You will begin to recognize that the delays were not denials. They were filters. Heaven is not just giving you a miracle. Heaven is protecting the miracle. There were things attached to you that could not enter your next level. And if God had blessed you earlier, those attachments would have complicated the blessing. Timing saved you. This is why dismissing this message is dangerous. Not because of fear, but because of ignorance. If you ignore what heaven is revealing, you risk clinging to what is meant to be released. Agreement allows the process to flow smoothly. And let me speak directly into your spirit right now. The heaviness you felt was not weakness. It was transition. The confusion you sensed was not instability. It was exposure beginning. The distance you noticed was not abandonment. It was alignment. The night is a dividing line. After 12:12 a.m. on March 24th, you will not see certain things the same way again. You will not tolerate what you once tolerated. You will not chase what once distracted you. There will be a quiet boldness rising inside you. That boldness is not arrogance. It is confirmation. Archangel Michael has fought battles you never saw. And now the battlefield is clearing. What remains will be pure. What remains will be supportive. What remains will be aligned. Do not fear what leaves. Fear only what blocks your obedience. Because the doors of heaven are not opening randomly. They are opening with precision. And you are being invited to walk through lighter, clearer, and stronger than before. If you receive this exposure as protection, type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments. Lesson code 444 is now activated over your life. As this light exposes what was hidden and clears the path before you, understand that this message itself is part of that divine opening. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping light reach souls who are still in darkness. God says, as you sow, so shall you reap, and this is not distant scripture. It is a living promise spoken over you now. When you place a seed into good soil, heaven breathes on it. I feel led to say this clearly. I am stepping into agreement with heaven's work through my giving. Every offering becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning. Every act of generosity becomes a key that unlocks revelation for someone on the edge of despair. Do not treat this as a transaction. Treat it as obedience. There is a harvest attached to those who respond quickly when God prompts them. As you give, may doors open for you with the same force heaven is opening them tonight. May unexpected provision meet you. May clarity multiply around you. Activate your seed now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, and step into the flow of divine increase. Anointed listener, now that exposure has begun and clarity is rising, there is another layer you must prepare for. When the doors of heaven swing open at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th, it will not only reveal who cannot go with you, it will also reveal what you are truly capable of carrying. Elevation is not just about opportunity. It is about capacity. For a long time, you underestimated yourself. You questioned whether you were ready. You doubted whether you had enough skill, enough strength, enough favor. But what you did not realize is that preparation often feels like pressure. The weight you felt was not meant to crush you. It was building spiritual muscle. Archangel Michael does not guard small assignments. He stands watch over divine missions. And the reason there has been such intense warfare around you is because your next level carries influence. It carries responsibility. It carries visibility. You prayed for more impact, more stability, more recognition. But more always requires maturity. As midnight approaches, something will begin shifting internally. Not just externally with doors opening, but internally with boldness awakening. You will start feeling a quiet authority rise within you. It will not be loud. It will not be dramatic. It will be steady. That steadiness is heaven stabilizing you for what is coming. Some of you have been in a season of hidden growth. You felt unseen. You felt overlooked. You wondered why others were advancing while you remained in the background. But hidden seasons are training grounds. God develops depth before display. If you had stepped into this next door prematurely, you might have been overwhelmed. If the blessing had come before your character strengthened, it could have destabilized you. Timing was mercy. And now the timing is aligning. When 12:12 a.m. strikes, expect a shift in how you see yourself. The insecurity that once whispered doubts will begin losing volume. The hesitation that once slowed your decisions will begin dissolving. This is not ego. This is alignment. Archangel Michael clears opposition externally, but God fortifies identity internally. Both are happening simultaneously. You may notice new ideas forming rapidly. You may feel clarity about decisions that once confused you. You may sense an urgency to move forward where you once procrastinated. That is divine momentum. Do not resist it. There is something powerful about divine doors. When they open, they do not require you to force entry. They respond to readiness. And readiness is what heaven has been cultivating inside you. Let me speak directly into the areas where you felt inadequate. The times you failed did not disqualify you. They refined you. The mistakes you regret taught you discernment. The losses you endured built resilience. Nothing was wasted. In fact, what embarrassed you privately strengthened you spiritually. As heaven opens its doors, you will realize that every painful chapter was preparation for authority. You will walk differently. You will speak differently. You will carry yourself with assurance not because you are perfect, but because you are positioned. And here is something critical. When your capacity increases, your circle must adjust. Not everyone can handle the version of you that emerges after midnight. Some will celebrate. Some will withdraw. Some will misunderstand. Do not shrink to maintain comfort. Archangel Michael does not fight battles so that you can retreat into smaller spaces. He fights so you can advance. He clears territory so you can occupy it. Tonight is about ownership. Ownership of your calling. Ownership of your voice. Ownership of your authority. You have been playing safe for too long. You have been waiting for external validation. But heaven's validation is enough. When the doors open, step confidently. Do not apologize for growth. Do not downplay your gift. Do not minimize your progress. There is also a financial dimension to this shift for many of you. Ideas that seemed unrealistic will begin to feel actionable. Opportunities that once felt distant will feel accessible. Watch for divine connections. Watch for unexpected confirmations. Watch for sudden invitations. Heaven's doors are not symbolic decorations. They are access points. And access changes everything. But remember, capacity must match access. That is why this season stretched you. That is why you were challenged emotionally, spiritually, even mentally. Expansion requires endurance. When 12:12 a.m. passes, do not expect fireworks in the sky. Expect clarity in your spirit. Expect alignment in your path. Expect acceleration in areas that once stalled. And most importantly, expect responsibility. Because miracles are not only gifts, they are assignments. You are not being elevated to impress others. You are being elevated to influence outcomes. There are people whose prayers are connected to your obedience. There are doors that will open for others because you walk through yours first. Let that settle in your heart. This is bigger than you. Archangel Michael stands at the edge of your next chapter, not just as a warrior, but as a witness. A witness that you endured. A witness that you stayed. A witness that you did not quit when it would have been easier to walk away. And now the doors are responding to your perseverance. Stand ready, because once they swing open, hesitation will only slow what heaven has already authorized. The clock is moving. The alignment is near. And you are stronger than you think. Precious one, as the hour draws closer and the atmosphere thickens with expectation, there is something even deeper unfolding that you must not overlook. The opening of heaven's doors at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th is not only about what comes to you, it is about what breaks off of you. For years, some of you have carried invisible weights, not physical burdens that others could see, but spiritual heaviness that drained your confidence, patterns that repeated, cycles that felt unbreakable. You moved forward 2 steps, only to feel pulled back 1. You prayed, you tried, you hoped, yet something unseen seemed to press against your progress. That unseen resistance had a deadline. When God declares that doors will swing open, it means restrictions are being revoked. It means legal access in the spiritual realm is being reviewed and canceled. Archangel Michael has not only been guarding your future, he has been confronting forces that tried to claim authority over areas of your life. There were generational patterns that attempted to repeat through you. Financial instability that ran in the family line. Relationship dysfunction that seemed inherited. Fear that felt older than your own experiences. But you are the interruption. You are the one chosen to break what others tolerated. Midnight represents transition. It is the dividing line between what was and what will be. And 12:12 amplifies divine government stepping into human timelines. As that moment approaches, chains that once felt permanent will begin losing their grip. You may not see chains physically, but you will feel their absence. The anxiety that used to rise automatically will feel weaker. The self-doubt that once shouted will begin whispering. The emotional triggers that once controlled your reactions will start losing influence. This is what deliverance looks like when it happens quietly. Archangel Michael fights loudly in the spiritual realm so you can experience peace quietly in the natural realm. There is also something happening with your voice. For a long time, you stayed silent in situations where you should have spoken. You minimize your opinions. You suppress your instincts. But after this midnight shift, there will be a firmness in how you communicate. Not aggression, but authority. You will not over-explain yourself. You will not chase validation. You will not beg for understanding. Because when heaven opens doors, it also confirms identity. Let me prepare you for something important. When old chains break, there is often a brief moment of disorientation. You may feel different. You may notice your tolerance for certain environments shrinking. You may feel uncomfortable in spaces that once felt normal. Do not panic. That is growth adjusting your standards. The old version of you survived. The new version of you leads. Some of you are stepping into leadership in ways you did not anticipate. It may not come with a title. It may not come with applause. But influence will increase. People will begin seeking your advice. Your presence will carry calm in chaotic situations. Your decisions will create ripple effects. This is not accidental. It is assignment. The enemy tried to keep you distracted so you would never recognize your authority. He tried to convince you that you were ordinary, that your voice did not matter, that your obedience would not change anything. But if that were true, there would not have been so much effort to discourage you. Opposition reveals importance. And now that the resistance is weakening, clarity will intensify. Pay attention to your dreams around this midnight hour. Pay attention to sudden insights. Pay attention to repeated confirmations through different sources. Heaven often confirms what it is activating. But do not look for drama. Look for alignment. A miracle may begin subtly. A message you were waiting for. A door reopening that was once shut. A financial shift. A relational breakthrough. A sudden idea that unlocks income or opportunity. Do not underestimate small beginnings. Large harvests grow from small seeds. And understand this clearly. You are not lucky. You are positioned. Archangel Michael does not randomly defend. He defends those assigned to purpose. He stands where God has declared value. The very fact that there has been warfare around your peace proves that your peace carries power. When 12:12 a.m. arrives, stand in agreement. Speak aloud if you can. Declare that every unauthorized attachment is broken. Declare that every delay has expired. Declare that every door God has authorized is now open. There is something powerful about spoken agreement. Heaven responds to alignment. You are not stepping into a vague blessing. You are stepping into a defined shift. The heaviness lifts. The cycle breaks. The pattern ends. The authority rises. And as the old chains fall, you will realize something profound. The miracle was not only waiting outside the door. It was forming inside you all along. The midnight hour is not just about access. It is about freedom. Warrior of faith, now that the chains are weakening and the old cycles are collapsing, you must understand what comes immediately after freedom. Responsibility. When heaven opens its doors at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th, it is not simply removing what held you back. It is entrusting you with what comes next. Freedom without direction becomes confusion. But your freedom has direction. For too long, you operated in survival mode. You focused on making it through the day, the week, the month. Your prayers were about relief. Your faith was about endurance. But this next season is not about surviving. It is about building. Archangel Michael has not fought battles around you just so you could return to the same limitations. He clears territory so you can establish something lasting on it. The doors of heaven are opening to give you access, but access requires movement. There will be opportunities that require courage. There will be conversations that require honesty. There will be decisions that require boldness. And here's where many hesitate. They pray for open doors, but when the door opens, they freeze. Do not freeze. The moment 12:12 a.m. passes, step mentally into action. Even if the change begins subtly, respond immediately. If clarity comes, act on it. If peace confirms a direction, move toward it. If a connection opens, nurture it. Momentum must be met with participation. And understand something deeply. You are not stepping forward alone. Archangel Michael stands as a protector of the territory you are entering. What once intimidated you will not intimidate you the same way again. What once seemed too large will now seem manageable. But you must cooperate. There will also be resistance that attempts a final stand. Sometimes when chains break, they rattle loudly before falling completely. Do not mistake noise for power. Just because something reacts does not mean it retains authority. The authority has already shifted. Your mindset now determines how far you go. This is the season to stop doubting your qualifications. The season to stop apologizing for growth. The season to stop shrinking your vision to fit other people's comfort. If God is opening doors, it means He has already evaluated your readiness. You may not feel fully prepared. That is normal. Faith moves before feelings catch up. And let me speak directly to those who feel overwhelmed by what they sense is coming. Read. The same God who orchestrated this midnight alignment will sustain you through what follows. You will not be given access without provision. There is also a strategic wisdom being released to you. Ideas about finances, adjustments in habits, shifts in routines. Pay attention to small nudges. They are not random thoughts. They are divine instructions disguised as impressions. Archangel Michael's role is not just dramatic warfare. It is protection of divine order. When order enters your life, chaos loses space. Expect your schedule to become clearer. Expect your priorities to rearrange. Expect distractions to lose their appeal. This is elevation through discipline. And as this message resonates with you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as a sign that you are stepping into agreement with this midnight shift. Share it with someone who has been praying for a breakthrough and needs confirmation that their moment is near. Comment your declaration boldly so that your faith becomes visible. Subscribe to this channel and stand with a community that refuses to stay bound. When you engage, you are amplifying a prophetic sound that travels farther than you realize. There is power in unity. There is power when believers align in expectation. And before you move forward, hold this thought closely because it will shape everything ahead. What is happening at 12:12 a.m. is not an isolated miracle. It is the beginning of a sequence. One open door leads to another. One act of obedience triggers another opportunity. You will want to stay attentive to what unfolds next, because the pattern that begins tonight will reveal just how intentional this timing truly is. Steadfast soul, there is a sacred transition happening beneath the surface that you may not yet fully comprehend. As 12:12 a.m. on March 24th draws near and the doors of heaven prepare to swing open, something eternal is intersecting with something temporary. This is not only about a shift in circumstances. It is about a shift in spiritual rank. You have been tested in hidden ways. Situations that seemed small were actually evaluations. Delays that frustrated you were actually assessments. Heaven watches how you handle obscurity before entrusting you with visibility. And you passed tests you did not even know you were taking. There were moments when you chose integrity over convenience. Moments when you stayed silent instead of retaliating. Moments when you remained faithful even when results were invisible. Those decisions were recorded. Archangel Michael does not stand guard over randomness. He stands where divine promotion is scheduled. The reason the warfare intensified before this midnight alignment is because promotion always triggers resistance. When your spiritual rank increases, opposition attempts to intimidate you before you recognize your new authority. But intimidation loses power once identity awakens. After 12:12 a.m., there will be a new boldness in your spirit. Not loud and not arrogant, but unshakable. You will sense that certain fears no longer grip you. Situations that once made you anxious will feel manageable. Conversations that once intimidated you will feel direct and clear. This is what happens when heaven authorizes advancement. Promotion in the spiritual realm does not always look like a public announcement. It often looks like internal stability. It looks like emotional maturity. It looks like discernment sharpening. You will begin to read situations faster. You will sense motives quicker. You will recognize distractions sooner. This awareness is not paranoia. It is protection. Archangel Michael's presence around your life signals that strategic positioning is underway. You are being placed where your influence will matter. Some of you will notice changes in your environment. Invitations you did not expect. Recognition from people who previously overlooked you. Access to rooms you once felt unqualified to enter. Do not downplay it. When heaven opens doors, humility must remain, but hesitation must leave. There is also something shifting in your prayer life. You will begin praying differently. Less begging. More declaring. Less confusion. More clarity. This is because you are no longer praying from survival. You are praying from authority. And authority does not beg for what has already been granted. Some of you have been wrestling with whether you truly matter in God's plan. You questioned if your obedience was significant. You wondered if your quiet faithfulness made any difference. But the fact that there has been targeted resistance around you proves that your assignment carries weight. Small assignments do not attract intense opposition. Large ones do. As midnight approaches, be attentive to your spirit. You may feel a calm confidence settle over you. You may sense excitement without knowing why. You may feel a strange peace that does not match your external situation. That peace is confirmation. When the doors of heaven swing open, they do not just release blessings. They release positioning. And positioning changes trajectory. Think about the past year. The pruning. The separation. The lessons. The disappointments. None of it was accidental. Every experience refined you. Every challenge strengthened your discernment. Every delay increased your endurance. You are not the same person you were before this season began. The transformation qualifies you for what is next. Archangel Michael has been guarding not only your future, but your growth. There were battles you never saw because they were handled before they reached you. There were attacks intercepted before they manifested. There were setbacks redirected before they harmed you. Protection surrounded you even when you felt vulnerable. And now the focus shifts from defense to advancement. After 12:12 a.m., watch how quickly certain pieces begin aligning. Watch how clarity replaces confusion. Watch how confidence replaces hesitation. Watch how opportunities connect in ways that feel orchestrated rather than accidental. Because they are orchestrated. But remember this carefully. Promotion requires responsibility. Authority requires discipline. Influence requires wisdom. Do not step into this new level casually. Guard your focus. Protect your peace. Choose your associations wisely. Heaven is opening doors, but you must steward what enters through them. This midnight moment is not the climax. It is the commencement. You are stepping into a new rank, a new rhythm, a new reality. And the shift will not be temporary. It will be defining. Beloved vessel of destiny, there is a sacred intensity building now that cannot be ignored. As the clock moves closer to 12:12 a.m. on March 24th, the atmosphere around you is not just shifting quietly. It is aligning forcefully. The doors of heaven are not decorative symbols. They are gates of authorization. And when they swing open, what enters your life will not be random, and will be appointed. You have come through purification without even realizing it. Certain relationships fell away. Certain habits became uncomfortable. Certain environments no longer fit who you were becoming. At times you thought you were losing stability, but in reality, you were shedding layers that could not cross into this next dimension. Elevation always requires purification. Archangel Michael's presence in your story is not accidental. When he stands guard at a threshold, it means the crossing is protected. It means what tries to sabotage your entrance will not succeed. There were attempts to derail you through distraction, discouragement, even subtle compromise. But you resisted more than you give yourself credit for. And now heaven responds to that resistance with reward. The opening at 12:12 a.m. will activate a flow. Not a single blessing, but a sequence. One door will lead to another. One confirmation will trigger another. One breakthrough will unlock another. The pattern will begin quietly, but it will gain momentum quickly. Some of you will experience this in your finances. A delayed payment released. A new opportunity presented. An idea that generates income. Others will experience it in relationships. Reconciliation where there was distance. Clarity where there was confusion. Separation where there was hidden toxicity. And some of you will experience it internally. Peace replacing anxiety. Confidence replacing insecurity. Direction replacing uncertainty. Do not compare your manifestation to someone else's. Your door is customized to your assignment. As the doors swing open, there will also be divine acceleration. Things that once took months will take weeks. Things that once required repeated effort will align with a single step of obedience. That is what happens when timing meets readiness. But let me warn you gently. Acceleration can feel overwhelming if you cling to old patterns. You must release the mindset of delay. You must release the identity of struggle. You must release the comfort of small expectations. You prayed for expansion. Expansion stretches territory, and territory requires vision. Archangel Michael has cleared spiritual interference so that your focus can sharpen. And now your responsibility is to guard what you see. Guard your thoughts. Guard your speech. Guard your associations. Doors may open, but you must choose what you carry through them. There will also be people who reappear suddenly. Some will come with genuine alignment. Others will come because they sense your elevation. Discernment will be critical. Just because a door opens does not mean every person may enter. Heaven is precise. You may notice heightened sensitivity in your spirit around this midnight hour. Pay attention to what feels peaceful and what feels pressured. God's doors do not require manipulation. They respond to faith and obedience. And hear this clearly. The reason this moment feels so significant is because it is not only about you. Your breakthrough will affect others. Your obedience will create pathways for those connected to you. There are prayers attached to your yes. There are testimonies waiting on your agreement. When you step through this door, you are not stepping alone. You are stepping as a representative of what faith can produce. If this message is confirming what your spirit has already sensed, type "I step through" in the comments. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your alignment and acceleration. As you prepare to step through this heavenly door, understand that every message released here is a key placed into someone's hand at their darkest hour. When you sow through Super Thanks, join as a member, or give through the PayPal link in the description, you are pouring oil into a lamp that refuses to go out. God says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not theory. It is a living exchange of faith. When you release a seed, you are not funding content. You are advancing light. I declare this boldly. I am partnering with heaven's work through my generosity. Your gift becomes manna for someone starving for hope. Your obedience becomes fire that pushes back spiritual darkness. Do not delay when you feel the nudge. Quick obedience unlocks multiplied harvest. As you give, may the same acceleration promised at 12:12 a.m. manifest in your life. May open heavens respond to your open hand. Activate your seed now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal and move in prophetic alignment. Faithful heart, now that acceleration has been activated and the doors of heaven have begun to swing open, there is something crucial you must guard above all else: your focus. When divine movement begins, distractions often increase. Not because you are failing, but because your advancement threatens what once had access to you. The moment 12:12 a.m. marked the shift on March 24th. A line was drawn in the spiritual realm. What once delayed you lost its legal ground. What once confused you lost its influence. But understand this clearly: just because authority has shifted does not mean noise will immediately disappear. There may be sudden attempts to pull you back into old conversations. Old habits may whisper for attention. Familiar doubts may try to reintroduce themselves. This is not because the miracle failed. It is because the old system is collapsing. When systems collapse, they shake. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian not only of doors, but of territory. You have stepped into new territory. And whenever territory changes ownership, there is a period of adjustment. Do not misinterpret this adjustment as instability. It is recalibration. You are recalibrating your mind to abundance instead of lack. You are recalibrating your identity to authority instead of insecurity. You are recalibrating your expectations to faith instead of fear. That takes intention. After a major shift, many people sabotage their own breakthrough because the new level feels unfamiliar. They retreat to what is comfortable. They second-guess progress. They downplay opportunities. Do not do that. If a door opened, walk fully through it. Do not stand halfway between seasons. This is a time for decisive faith. The clarity that has come to you is not accidental. The separation that occurred was not random. The acceleration that began is not temporary, but you must cooperate with it. Guard your mornings. Guard your thoughts. Guard your words. Speak in alignment with what heaven has declared. If you begin speaking defeat, you invite confusion back into a space that was just cleared. If you begin entertaining doubt, you reopen conversations that were already closed. Archangel Michael cleared interference so you could walk forward without constant resistance. You not reintroduce resistance through agreement with negativity. You may also notice that certain people respond differently to you now. Some will admire the shift. Some will question it. Some will subtly test your boundaries to see if you are still the same version they once knew. This is where your growth must remain firm. You are not required to shrink so others feel comfortable. You are not required to explain every change. You are not required to apologize for elevation. Elevation is not arrogance when it is ordained. There will also be invitations that require discernment. Not every opportunity is divine. Some are distractions dressed like advancement. The difference is peace. When a door is from God, It carries peace even if it stretches you. When it is a distraction, it carries urgency without clarity. Learn to distinguish pressure from purpose. The midnight alignment has sharpened your discernment. Trust it and understand this deeply. The miracle was not only the door opening. The miracle was the transformation inside you that allows you to sustain what entered. Many people receive blessings they cannot maintain, but you have been trained through delay. You have been refined through testing. You have been strengthened through resistance. You are capable of stewarding what has arrived. That is why this moment matters so much. Archangel Michael's involvement in your journey symbolizes divine protection over your advancement. You are not walking into unknown territory unguarded. You are walking into prepared territory protected. Now the responsibility is yours to build. Build discipline. Build consistency. Build wise boundaries. Build strategic vision. The open doors will not close suddenly, but they respond to engagement. If you neglect what was given, momentum slows. If you nurture what was given, momentum multiplies. And let me speak to the quiet fear that may still linger. You are not going to lose this because of one imperfect day. You are not going to sabotage this because of one mistake. Grace surrounds this shift, but intentional neglect is different from human imperfection. Stay aligned. Stay aware. Stay grateful. Gratitude stabilizes acceleration. When you thank God for what has begun, you anchor the blessing in humility. When you recognize the hand of heaven in your progress, you guard yourself from pride. The doors of heaven have opened. The atmosphere has shifted. The chains have fallen. The rank has increased. The acceleration has begun. Now you stand in the continuation. And what you do next determines how far this open door will carry you. Courageous one. As the reality of this shift settles into your life, there is something even more powerful unfolding that you must recognize. The doors of heaven did not open at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th just to change your circumstances. They opened to change your trajectory. A trajectory is not a moment. It is a direction. For years, you may have felt like you were moving in circles. Progress, then setback. Hope, then delay. Breakthrough, then confusion. But that cycle has been interrupted. The midnight alignment was not a temporary surge of favor. It was a divine redirection. Archangel Michael's assignment around your life has transitioned from clearing resistance to guarding expansion. There is a difference. Clearing resistance removes obstacles. Guarding expansion protects growth. You are no longer fighting to break through. You are now building within open space. That requires vision. Some of you are sensing a stirring inside you that feels bigger than your current environment. Ideas that once seemed unrealistic now feel possible. Goals that once felt distant now feel urgent. This is not ambition alone. This is alignment. When heaven opens doors, it also enlarges perspective. Here is where focus becomes critical. When trajectory changes, distractions intensify. There may be sudden invitations to revisit old paths. Former connections may attempt to reconnect at the exact moment you are gaining clarity. Old habits may seem appealing because they are familiar. Do not mistake familiarity for destiny. The old direction feels safe because it is known. The new direction feels uncertain because it requires faith. But faith is where growth multiplies. You are not meant to circle anymore. The midnight shift broke repetition. Now discipline sustains direction. This is the season to write down vision clearly, to define what you are building, to structure your time intentionally, to eliminate what drains momentum. The open door is an opportunity, but opportunity without structure fades quickly. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that divine order is powerful. Heaven operates in precision, not chaos. As the doors opened, order entered your life. Now you must cooperate with that order. Establish boundaries where there were none. Prioritize what aligns with purpose. Release what competes with calling. And let me speak directly to those who feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of what they sense. You are not required to accomplish everything at once. Trajectory is sustained through consistent steps. Small daily obedience builds large visible results. Do not rush what is meant to grow steadily. There will also be people watching your shift. Some silently observing. Some openly supportive. Some skeptical. Do not perform for them. Build regardless of their opinion. You are accountable to assignment, not applause. And if this message is strengthening your resolve, engage with it boldly. Like this video as a declaration that you refuse to return to old cycles. Share it with someone who needs confirmation that their direction has changed. Comment your commitment so that your words align with your future. Subscribe to this channel and stand in agreement with a community that believes heaven still moves in precision. Your engagement amplifies this prophetic sound to reach someone who may be one message away from breakthrough. Momentum grows when faith is expressed. And before you move forward, understand this deeply. The trajectory shift is not only about success in visible areas. It is also about peace internally. You will notice that decisions become clearer. Anxiety decreases. Confusion fades faster. That is because you are no longer wandering. You are advancing. Advancement carries peace when it is ordained. Archangel Michael's continued presence signifies that protection remains active. You are not navigating this new direction alone. There are battles still being handled behind the scenes. There are diversions being prevented. There are delays being intercepted. But you must remain attentive. Guard your yes. Not every opportunity deserves agreement. Guard your no. Not every request requires explanation. Guard your time. Not every conversation deserves access. The doors of heaven open to elevate your life, not to overwhelm it. If something steals your peace consistently, evaluate it. If something drains your clarity repeatedly, adjust it. The new trajectory demands intentional living. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. And as you continue forward, something remarkable will happen. What once felt impossible will begin feeling inevitable. The very goals you hesitated to speak aloud will become part of your daily planning. Confidence will stabilize. Vision will sharpen. Because you are no longer stuck in repetition. You are moving in direction. The midnight with a catalyst. Now the journey unfolds. Determined spirit. As this new trajectory continues to unfold, there is a dimension of this shift that reaches even deeper than opportunity, promotion, or protection. What happened at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th was not only a heavenly authorization over your external life, it was a covenant reminder over your internal identity. There are seasons when God blesses, and there are seasons when God reminds. This is both. The doors of heaven swinging open was not heaven discovering you. It was heaven reaffirming you. You were chosen before this midnight moment ever existed. You were marked before opposition ever recognized you. And now, after the shift, you are being invited to walk with awareness of that marking. Archangel Michael's presence in your journey has symbolized warfare and protection. But there is another layer. His standing at the threshold represents something sacred. You are considered worth defending. Pause and absorb that. The battles that surrounded your life were not random disturbances. They were evidence of value. No one fights intensely over something insignificant. The resistance you endured was confirmation that your future carries weight. Now that the doors are open and your direction has shifted, the enemy's strategy will change. It will no longer be about stopping you. It will be about distracting you from understanding who you are. Because once identity stabilizes, intimidation loses its leverage. There were years when you questioned yourself constantly. You compared your pace to others. You doubted your uniqueness. You minimized your gift. But after this alignment, something quiet yet powerful is anchoring you. You know who you are becoming. Not in arrogance, not in pride, but in clarity. Clarity is dangerous to confusion. You are no longer searching for permission to grow. You are no longer waiting for validation to move. You are no longer explaining your obedience to people who do not understand your assignment. The covenant reminder is this: you belong to purpose. The doors of heaven did not open because you were lucky. They opened because your name was attached to timing. Your obedience intersected with appointment, and heaven responded. There is also a new intimacy available to you in this season. After major breakthrough, some people run ahead excited by opportunity, but the wise lean closer to God in gratitude. This is where sustainability is secured. Spend time in quiet reflection. Not because you are afraid of losing the blessing, but because you recognize the source of it. Archangel Michael may guard your territory, but your relationship with God guards your heart. And here is something profound. As your identity strengthens, your influence will naturally expand. You will begin speaking with weight. When you encourage someone, it will carry impact. When you advise someone, it will carry wisdom. When you correct someone, it will carry authority. Not because you demand it, because you embody it. This is the fruit of testing seasons. This is the reward of endurance. This is the evidence of transformation. But remain humble. The higher you rise, the more humility stabilizes you. The more influence increases, the more integrity must anchor you. The more doors open, the more gratitude must guide you. The midnight shift was dramatic in the spiritual realm, but the daily walk afterward is where character proves itself. There may be moments when you look back and almost do not recognize the person you were. The anxiety that once ruled you. The insecurity that once defined you. A fear that once limited you. And you will realize something astonishing. You survived what was meant to break you. Not only survived it, you grew through it. And now the covenant reminder settles in your spirit like a seal. You are not an accident moving through random circumstances. You are a chosen vessel navigating appointed timing. The doors of heaven swinging open were heaven's announcement. But your continued obedience is your response. There are still chapters ahead, still victories to experience, still assignments to fulfill. But you will approach them differently now, with clarity, with steadiness, with identity. Archangel Michael's watch continues, but you are no longer standing outside the threshold. You are walking inside promise. And when identity aligns with access, there is very little that can destabilize you. The trajectory is set. A covenant is remembered. The confidence is anchored. And what remains is faithful continuation. Anointed and appointed one. This is the culmination of what heaven began at 12:12 a.m. on March 24th. The doors of heaven did not swing open for a moment of excitement. They opened to seal a season of transformation. And now you stand on the other side of the threshold, no longer waiting, no longer wandering, but walking. What began as a warning became a revelation. What felt urgent became undeniable. You now understand that dismissing this message would not have been casual indifference. It would have been self-sabotage. Because this was never just about information. It was about activation. The midnight alignment marked a spiritual decree over your life. Delays expired. Cycles ended. Identity stabilized. Direction clarified. And protection intensified. But now comes the final layer of this shift: ownership. You must own what heaven has released. No more shrinking when opportunity appears. No more doubting when clarity comes. No more retreating when growth feels uncomfortable. Archangel Michael did not stand guard at your door so you could hesitate at the entrance. He stood there to ensure safe passage into what was already written. The battles that once surrounded you have lost their authority. The voices that once intimidated you have lost their influence. The chains that once restricted you have fallen permanently. But here is the truth that seals everything. Open doors require open faith. You cannot step into a new season with an old mindset. You cannot carry expansion with a scarcity mentality. You cannot walk in authority while entertaining insecurity. The shift has happened. Now your thinking must match it. From this point forward, expect alignment to become normal. Expect favor to feel natural. Expect clarity to guide your decisions. This is not arrogance. This is agreement. There will still be challenges, but they will not define you. There will still be obstacles, but they will not delay you. There will still be moments of stretching, but they will not break you. Because something irreversible has happened. Heaven has recognized your endurance. Heaven has responded to your obedience. Heaven has authorized your advancement. And Archangel Michael continues to stand as a witness that what was fought for in the unseen is now established in the seen. Do not return to old conversations that contradict the shift. Do not entertain doubts that question what has already been confirmed. Do not minimize the transformation because it unfolded quietly. The most powerful changes often happen without noise. Look at yourself honestly. You are stronger, clearer, bolder, more discerning, more disciplined, more aware. That is the evidence. The doors of heaven swung open, and you walk through. Now your life becomes the testimony. Your peace becomes proof. Your stability becomes evidence. Your growth becomes undeniable. And as this message concludes, understand that this was never just about March 24th. It was about awakening you to the reality that when God speaks, alignment follows. When heaven declares, movement begins. When you agree, miracles accelerate. If you receive this completion as confirmation of your new season, type "I walk in the open door" in the comments. Blessing code 3003 is now sealed over your journey. As you stand in this open door, remember that revelation must continue flowing beyond you. When you sow through Super Thanks, become a member, or give through the PayPal link in the description, you are sending this light into homes that are still waiting for their midnight moment. Scripture declares, "Those who sow generously will reap generously," and this is not distant history. It is God speaking over you now. I declare this personally. I am choosing to fuel heaven's work on the earth. Your seed becomes oil that keeps this prophetic fire burning. Your generosity becomes a river that carries hope to someone drowning in silence. This is not charity. This is covenant partnership. When you respond quickly, you align with the same urgency that opened your door at 12:12 a.m. May every gift you release return as multiplied favor, multiplied clarity, and multiplied protection. Let your giving be prophetic. Let it be decisive. Activate your support now through Super Thanks. membership, or PayPal, and seal your agreement with heaven's movement.